Hi, my name is Bobby Guzman, and I pro-staff for Predator Sniper Products. Brent Reeb has given me the opportunity to use his products and go out and kill a few coyotes. And hopefully some of the tips that I give you today are going to help you put more fur in the back of your pickup. The first call I want to talk about is the death cry. As you can see, it's an open reed call. We've got an aluminum tubing housing, the mouthpiece black, and we've got the thin reed. I'll do some demonstrations on some of the sounds I use out in the field, and I'll show you exactly how I do those. First and foremost, the primary sound that most guys use in the field is the distress cry. Generally it's a cottontail rabbit or a jackrabbit, and I'll kind of give a demonstration of that and tell you where I put that in my mouth and exactly how I hold it and do the cadence and that kind of deal. So here we go. Rabbit distress. Basically what I'm doing is sealing the air off with the cup of my hand out in front and holding that air until I let it out with this hand. Kind of as you think about talking with your lips, this is my mouth right here. This becomes the mouth of the call, and I can control the sound that way. One of the other things that I do is I hold the call a little bit differently. Brent and I discussed this last week, and I kind of discovered what I was doing when I was trying to explain to my kids how to get the sounds that I make when I call. Apparently I hold the call a little bit different than most guys. So what I'm going to show you is how I cup the call in the one hand, and I usually do not call with gloves on. No matter how cold the weather is, we have these heating packs that'll keep your hands warm, because I just don't like the sound that the gloves take away from the call. So I'd rather use my hands and then keep them warm until a coyote comes in. So here's how I do this. As you can see, I have the call in one hand. It's almost like making an OK sign. So what I'm doing is, in essence, I'm forcing all the air that comes out of my mouth into another makeshift tube that gets all the sound through the mouthpiece, and that allows me to control the air. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate on how I can back off on the volume and then increase it and get a little bit more raspiness if I want to really make it sound like the rabbit's really hurting. So here we go. I'm going to start off low and then put a little bit more volume, a little bit more emotion into the call. Now another thing that I do when I'm holding the call here, I'm actually placing my lips up to my finger, which seals off the airflow and allows me to control that so I can back off and make the sounds that I want. So from the side view, if you're seeing me from the side, I'm calling this way, this is what you're going to see. Got it grip here, and this is how it's going to go in. All the way in. Let you hear the difference in the tone. I'm going to close just the end, as I see most open reed callers hold the call, and I'm going to blow into that call. It's not a lot of sound, but you can hear it as you're blowing into it. It's easier for the caller to hear himself change the tone. So you can demonstrate this as you work on your own calling and that type of deal. So here we go. I hope the microphone will pick the difference up, because some of the sound does evaporate out the side before it goes through the housing, or excuse me, the tube. So here we go. Now with the grip, so this is basically what it does for me is it allows me to control the airflow a lot more, because I can back off on the volume because I'm controlling all the air going through the mouthpiece and then coming out the tube. Where if I'm not, air does get out the side and some sound does, because the vibrations in the call will change that tone. But if your entire hand is around it and it's cupped in there, your hand is gonna hold those vibrations down and make it sound a little bit different. Another distress call that I use, and I like to use with the death cry, is the bird distress. And with that call, I hold it the same way, the same grip, and I generally work at the end of the reed here, up to the end, closer towards yourself, and I use my teeth. And what I try to do is I try to get one tooth on one side of the reed, and it gives that reed a little bit more vibration. It gives me some control. And basically what I do is I flutter my tongue, kind of like you'd roll your R's in Spanish class, or if you're speaking a foreign language. And what it does is it flutters that sound, and it gives you somewhat of like what a bird would sound like, as well as the high pitch through the call. What type of bird, I don't know. It's just basically a distress call, and we're mimicking some type of bird. And again, if it depends on the area and depends on what the coyotes are hunting. If a rabbit distress doesn't work in that particular stand, maybe you want to throw out a bird distress. Well, anyway, here's what that's going to sound like. And that's basically placing one of the teeth, my left tooth, on this side of the call, and then letting a little bit more air flow through. And the further you back off on that reed, the higher the pitch. As you go in, the lower the pitch. And you notice that when I'm using my hands a little bit faster, a bird's lungs aren't as large as a rabbit, so I'm going to keep that short and choppy and try to emote through the call as much as I can. Now, depending on where you're hunting at, there could be a lot of deer in the area. I know where I hunt, it's pretty flat, and there are some pockets with some draws and some canyons and things like that where there may be some deer held up. And a deer distress call might help you. Again, if you're making a call stand, and the rabbit distress doesn't work, the bird distress doesn't work, maybe there is a herd of deer that around, or it's just another sound to bring that coyote in, or the group of coyotes. And basically what you're trying to do is you're just trying to get that coyote sold on what it is you want him to get in and present himself, so you can have a good shot. Again, I hold the call in the same manner, control my airway, and this time the length of the call is a little bit longer, because a fawn and a doe, or any type of deer, they have large lungs. And again, emote through the call. Try to emote through the call, and just give that distress feeling out there, and use your hands a little bit. But here's how it goes. Here's how I do it. And that's basically how I use the deer distress. It's neither, I don't know if it's a fawn or a doe, but what I'm trying to do is make it sound like a larger animal that's in distress.